I will bring the meeting to order, and we need somebody to apologize.
No, that's okay. We're here on February 13th, 2023 at 4:15 p.m. for our Community Development Advisory Board meeting. And if you would like to do roll call.
Sorry.
Sorry, Brian, I didn't say I looked at you, but I didn't say so.
Sorry, I'm here. I got Brian Healy, present or here.
Sister Paula Rose here.
Ralph Taylor here.
Charles Davis here.
Tony Mage is here.
And then you'll go on to number 2.
Sounds good. So do I have a motion to vote to approve or disapprove the 9/12/22 meeting minutes?
Yes, I would like to motion to approve the 9/12/22 meeting minutes that were attached. Yes.
I'll second that.
All in favor say aye, or individuals say aye.
Aye.
Brian Healy, aye.
Ralph Taylor, aye.
Sister Paula Rose, aye.
Charles Davis, aye.
Tony Mage is aye.
I'm glad I don't feel like the only one out of practice right now.
We're very out of
Been
practice.
a while.
The meetings are approved. On to item number 3, we'll open up the public hearing, and I absolutely am going to need somebody to propose
To motion to
a
open.
motion.
Motion to open, okay. I would like to make a motion to open the public hearing to item number 3 on the agenda.
I'd like to second that motion.
By individual names, say aye or nay.
Tony Mage is aye.
Charles Davis, aye.
Ralph Taylor, aye.
Sister Paula Rose, aye.
Brian Healy, aye.
Okay. I do believe that we have one individual here to speak on unmet need, and that is Mr. Michael Trapp. Are you good?
Yep, good. Service to the city. It's important to have citizen involvement for a well-run city. I relocated here from Columbia, Missouri, and I served 9 years on the Columbia City Council and worked very closely with our Community Development Council. And I know the hard work and effort that it goes into to make sure that the due diligence for the city and to ensure that community development block grant funds are spent in appropriate ways and for the best use of the community. So thank you for your service. I'm currently the executive director at the Alliance Against Family Violence. I'm relatively new to Leavenworth, but I am a local politics geek, and I'm a social service guy. I have 32 years experience in social services and a master's degree in sociology. And so as soon as I came to probably one of the few people who, upon moving to Leavenworth, I got on the city website and I read your caper, and I read the comprehensive plan, and I've looked at the municipalities in Leavenworth County and kind of looked at kind of gaps in the system. And for the size of the city of Leavenworth, we do a pretty good job as far as what services are available. There are a number of unmet needs, and probably most of them are beyond the scope of your ability to address. Affordable housing, transportation. I don't think that these things are going to be new to you. But one, pardon the pun, concrete area where we could have some assistance is in regards to handicap accessibility, making physical improvements to the community. I've seen that that's been a big issue throughout Leavenworth, and the city of Leavenworth has funds set aside to assist small businesses. Most nonprofit organizations, social service agencies, function very much like small businesses and operate on tight budgets and are in a life and death struggle with survival, just to be blunt. But there's no support in the city to make ADA improvements for nonprofits because the funding source that's been identified for it comes out of community development, and nonprofits are not considered economic development by the city of Leavenworth. Now, I might challenge that. I don't know what the numbers are here, but I know in Columbia, for every dollar of city funding that went to city social services, generated $56 in economic activity through matching funds and other. So I believe that social services and nonprofits are economic drivers in the community. So that would be one possible way to make funds available. If that was reconsidered, that the nonprofit sector is an important sector for economic development, or if there can be another funding source, small amounts of money would have a big impact. I know the Alliance has some unmet disability access needs where we could better serve folks and not have to put people, in a hotel stay who might not be able to access our confidential facility here in the city of Baltimore. So I thank you for your time and attention and addressing the city's needs. I'd be open to any questions if anyone has one.
I'm sorry, go
I
ahead.
don't have any, I apologize. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you,
sir.
Mr. Trout.
Appreciate it.
And I do not believe that we have anybody else that's going to be speaking. Is that correct? Okay. Okay. So you could go ahead and make a motion to close if you would so wish.
Do we have a motion to close the public hearing?
Tony Majors, I would like to make a motion that we close the public hearing.
I second.
All in favor or against, say so by name and your vote.
Brian Keeley, aye.
Sister Paula Rose, aye.
Ralph Taylor, aye.
Charles Davis, aye.
Tony Majors, aye.
Motion passes. We have closed the public hearing. I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, so number 4 on our agenda is discussion of the aggregate sheets. And so for me to go into that, I would just like to explain the piles that are in front of you right now. What you have there in front of you is on the top is a current status of agency funds for the 2022 program year that we're in right now. It lists out the 5 agencies that are receiving CDBG funds at the max amount of 15% of entitlement funds that are permitted by HUD. So you can see what you guys had voted on, what they were awarded, what they've expended, and what they have available. This is all trending very well. I don't see any issues with anybody not being able to expend all of their funds. CASA is the only agency that gets reimbursement for their lease, and the other agencies use it for utility reimbursement for their facility. And so just wanted to let you see how that was going and where they were sitting at, and just give you an update on that. The other thing that you have in your big pile, the next thing, is a blank application to refer to. I thought that would be helpful for you. I know that I did email you guys the first week of January just so you could see the application and see what was going out. But it might be a nice reference guide for you to see what the agencies were given, their cover letter, and that was their application. You may want to use it as a reference or checklist if you wish to. Also on that application, you will see the top right corner has my personal cell phone number. That is there in place because do recognize that you all are volunteers and have jobs during the day, and it is greatly appreciated your time. Please do not be shy about reaching out to me if you have a question or if there is something that you just want to clarify on the aggregate sheet or anything else that you may be wanting to know. Night, weekend, doesn't matter. The next thing that you have are the 6 applications, and on top of each application that came in, there is a score sheet. It'll look very familiar to all of you except for Tony, because Tony, this will be your first year. I did not change this score sheet because it is something that you all are used to. It's what you guys have seen in the past. So you're just being asked to go through that score sheet, score it on each individual agency. I would like to just make sure that everybody is scoring ideally the same. And what I mean by that is, for example, there are 4 categories. So there's need, project, budget timeliness, and then performance measures. So, for example, the first one has 4 different items listed for a total of 30 points. So, right, it doesn't come out mathematically evenly divided. And so that was just something that I noticed, but I have noticed that this is something that you all have done for years, but I just wanted to make sure that regardless of how many points that you feel each line is, just know that in total, it just can't have any more than were 30 points in there.
Or not less than 30?
Oh, no, it can have less than
Okay,
30.
so no more than 30, okay.
Yeah, no more than 30 points overall
Sure, okay.
is how that, and that would just be the same going down. There's, the next project is 20 points, budget and timeliness is 20, and then performance measures are 30. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody was doing that the same way, because I certainly was like, how did they do this? And I kind of looked in the past and I figured that's how I think most people were doing it. Once you have these completed and done, I just wanted to ask, is it okay with you that you have these completed by March 1st? And it will give a couple of weeks plus a couple of weekends. Try to be considerate of, this takes time to go through these.
March 1st?
Is that okay with you all? March 1st is a deadline?
yeah.
Okay. Yep, and all I need back is are those aggregate score sheets. And you can get them to me however it is convenient for you. If you just call me and say, hey, come pick them up, I'll do that. You can email them to me, you can drop them by the office, whatever is convenient for you. Okay, so that,
Have you given any thought to reconfiguring the scores? I feel like you have, and you're just not ready to spring it on us at this point. Totally up to you if you want to discuss it, or.
somewhat, but again, I didn't want to just come in and change everything up on everybody.
No,
One of the things that I actually have down that I would really appreciate you all doing, and is as you're going through that aggregate, or going through that score sheet, right, because then I'll aggregate it and put it all together.
Sure.
When we come back together in March, you're gonna see an overall.
Yep.
Nobody's gonna know individually which board member, how they voted, okay? But we will have an aggregate overall. It would be really great as you're going through these applications, number one, to be writing down or jot down possibly some questions that you may have for the agency. Because next meeting that we have, the agencies that all applied are gonna be here.
Yep.
So you would have all had an opportunity to go through the application, score it, and then have an opportunity to listen to them, stand up and give some information. I'm gonna be asking them to give the name of the organization and what's unique about their agency, 2 or 3 sentences about what their agency does, how many people they served, and perhaps what they're asking in funding. This, right after that, and we'll keep those short, right, because there'll be 6. Hello, Mary. Right after that, then I'll turn it over to you all so that you can ask them questions. This gives all of you an opportunity to have reviewed the application, score it, have an opportunity to ask them individual questions, and then after that, you will be voting. Does that sound okay?
Absolutely.
Okay, and so as you're going through, in order to, having said all of that, to answer your question, as you're going through those score sheets, if there are things on there that you want to change for next year, or things that you feel are more important, or something you feel that needs to be added or omitted, please bring the feedback to the next meeting. This is all about what's easier for you all to be able to score these applications. So it can definitely be adjusted to what better suits you. So as you're going through them, if you feel like there are things that should be added or omitted, please let me know next meeting. We can change this for next year with no problem.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we will adapt to what you feel is appropriate.
I have a question.
Yeah,
On the same line as when we're talking about St. Vincent Clinic, it says they have remaining is $6,193.24. Now, once we start this new process, the new grading process, and say they need 6 more thousand, just hypothetically speaking, do that continue on? Does that carry on with the 6,193 that they still have remaining? Do we add that to that, or?
no, that's a really good question. I'm glad you asked that. So that current status of because we're still in our 2022 program year right now. It started July 1st of 22 and it goes to the end of June of 23. So the applications that just came in now are for the 2023 program year, starting July 1st.
Okay.
So I can tell you right now, none of these public service agencies are gonna have any of this money left. Yeah, and I say worst case scenario, but it's not even that. By June 1st, their contracts advise that by June 1st, they have to have a reimbursement request in. So they're not gonna have any of these funds left.
So the slate will be clean.
Yeah, exactly. They have to have them expended, by the time the grant year ends. And like I said, their contracts specifically say that by June 1st, we could actually reallocate if we wanted to. We haven't really done that to anybody. I did have one public service agency at the end of the program year that had a little bit of money left, and so I was on the horn with them, and not a problem. They got that reimbursement into me right away.
And you were able to push it to a different program.
No, they were able to use it. It was theirs. I just
okay.
gave a friendly phone call of,
Oh,
hey,
gotcha.
it's June 1st.
Little
and-
nudge.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, let's get this expended. So they're not gonna have any of these CDBG funds by the time July 1st comes around. So these applications are for that next program year.
Okay. I'm clear.
Yeah, and all of our you will see that all of our current public service agencies did reapply again this year. In addition, we do have Alliance Against Family Violence has submitted an application as well.
Is that the same? They did as well previous years, but they weren't last year, is that what you're telling me?
They hadn't the last 2 years. The last time that Alliance Against Family Violence has received CDBG funds with the regular entitlement funds was the 2020 program year.
Okay.
I want to be very careful when I say this because I was not here during the
understand.
CDBG CV funding timeframe.
Right.
I do believe that they were awarded funds, but they possibly had not spent them and they got reallocated. The amount and all of those, I am unaware of the details.
I knew that there was a gap in their applications.
Sure, and their application does go into that a little bit. I think we all know from living here in Leavenworth, they did close for a short while. So, yeah, it has been a couple of years since they have been a recipient.
I think I speak for everybody, welcome them back to the program. And we're gonna do what we can to help, obviously.
Oh,
so.
yes.
Sure, absolutely. As you go through the applications, I would just like you to, if you could keep in mind that this is a competitive grant as well. And like I said, jot down any questions because you're gonna have an opportunity to ask them direct questions. That won't be an issue.
Unfortunately, it looks like the budget number is the same as it was the previous year. It's just more mouths to feed at this point.
Yeah, Brian, it's always gonna be projected.
Okay.
Because we don't know what our entitlement fund is gonna be for the city until HUD releases the funds, and then HUD can't release the funds to us until Congress has voted. So I think it was September of this year that they were released to us.
Wow.
And it's supposed to be, in a perfect world, ready by July 1st, right?
Yeah.
So, and this has happened the last few years now. So that's not uncommon. But the agencies that apply for these funds, they know to be keeping their utility or lease bills, and of course, and the proof of the payment, and they submit those when they're ready to go. So projection numbers is based upon 15% as the cap, right, that we can have. I think I projected for $1,000 less this year, not because I'm anticipating one way or the other, but just because I don't want to be unrealistic and, say I'm projecting more. I have nothing to base that on.
Are the agencies that applied, I guess they're just now aware of how many other agencies are applying? Is that safe to assume?
What's that again?
If I'm St. Vincent's Clinic and I was here last year, I saw a total of 5, and now I wouldn't be aware there was 6 applicants until right now, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep, applications went out the first week of January 4th. They were due back in on Friday, this last Friday, the 10th at 3 o'clock. So the applicants that had full applications with everything provided that was asked and good standing with the city and everything that they had in place are in front of you. And those were the 5 that we currently fund, and then including Alliance Against Family Violence.
So you're saying there was some that were incomplete and therefore denied, or not denied, but weren't considered, won't be considered?
Correct, correct. Yep, correct. There were 2, and I'll be more than happy to have a discussion with you at another time in regards to those, but there's no ill will, and
no, I
those
understand.
agencies completely understand the situations, and does anybody have any questions about the process of what we're gonna do going forward, what's gonna happen in March? I'll catch you up, no problem. Okay. All right, would you like me to move on to just giving you an update on home repair?
Yeah, absolutely.
And what have you? Okay. So just wanted to give you, like I said, a little bit of update of what's going on. So home ownership, the home ownership program that we have, we had a goal of 5 for this 2022 program year. And we've already met that 5. We have helped, CDBG funds have helped 5 low and moderate income persons purchase a home here inside of Leavenworth city limits. Out of those 5, 3 were female head of household. And again, these are just random statistics I wanted to share. And also the home repair program that we have. So we have a goal of 11 to serve, and we have served 6. Including 3 homes with new roofs, 1 with a furnace, air conditioner, and a water heater, and another one with a hole in the roof, a furnace and air conditioner, and some ventilation piping to get it up to code and safe. Of those 6 home repair, we had 5 of them are female head of household, and 4 were over the age of 65. Thought I'd kind of give a little bit of an idea of the folks that are being served right now, a little bit of information of that category. As we all know, anywhere between 50 to 52%, in the last year I've heard and seen data from 50 to 52% of Leavenworth being homeowners. And so with that number being small, on top of people being able to qualify for our program, that they're low, moderate income, and all of the other information that they have to, guidelines they have to be approved for in order to be qualified for the program, it does somewhat become a smaller number, and so I just thought that was some good information to share. Also, something else that I would just like you to consider and think about is that currently right now, our home repair program gives up to $8,000 for those of moderate income, paying for up to $8,000 worth of repairs. Low income, it'll help pay up to $10,000 worth of repairs. I do believe that this board a couple of years ago or last year with my predecessor approved to raise those amounts just because of the cost of materials and the cost of labor. That certainly has not gone down. And it's just something I would just like you to think about, and maybe perhaps at our next meeting, bring some questions of maybe some information that you want from me to help you make a decision upon if you would be willing to actually bring that amount up a little bit higher. And what I'm considering may be rational is about $12,000 to $13,000 a home, possibly even up to 15. Again, these are ideas. I would just like you to think about them, and then if you have further information you want me to gather at our next meeting, or if you ever should feel comfortable to vote on a decision of doing this a little bit differently starting this next program year, July 1st. And it is all about the labor costs, the cost of materials, and what have you. We do have one individual home that qualified under low income. So they were qualified up to $10,000. Their roof cost $12,000. So they got a $2,000 interest rate free loan, right, from our local housing trust funds. And that is somewhat of what that account there is for. There is some money in that account, not as much as there used to be, because you all were very generous and voted to give some during COVID. But I just really question if maybe that was an opportunity for us to possibly consider raising the amount that can be spent on a home so that we're not causing payments to be made.
Excuse me. And I ask a question. How do you get that information out to, say, me? I don't have internet. I don't know who to go to, who to turn to, whatever. How do we get this information out to that person that really, doesn't have any contact or whatever?
Sure, for the home repair program? Okay, and I know you said, what if I don't have internet? But I do just want to put out there, our public information officer does make sure that it does go out on social media. And she does her and I work really well together. Every quarter, her and I switch it up. We're advertising either home ownership or home repair. Yep. So that is one aspect. It does get put up on Channel 2. And I know that's not the most, that's not the first place that people go for resources, but some people do still have that and still do watch that. So it is up on there. And also the First City Connection. I hear more people who apply for the home repair program tell me I saw it in First City Connection that our public information officer puts out. Also, sometimes I'll have conversations with pastors and email them the information that they will share with their churches, with their congregation. I can't say that, I always ask everybody, Ralph, oh, how'd you hear about the program? More often than not, I hear it's from First City Connection or I found out from a friend. Those are the most common places. Definitely open to anything anybody else wants to, wherever else you want it to be advertised, I'd be more than happy to do that.
Where does the additional funding come from if we raise the home repair program award to $15,000?
Oh, understood. So this would, At the last meeting, I did state that I may be possibly asking for a substantial amendment to the 5-year plan.
Okay, yeah.
And so that is where this would come from. Currently, right now, like I said, we have served 6 individuals, and the goal was 11. Maybe the goal could be brought down and the amount raised, right? I'm not turning away a whole bunch of applicants of people who, need the help. So that isn't necessarily the situation. And in regards to where is the additional funding coming from, it's not necessarily additional funding.
You're saying, yes, I got you, makes sense.
Spend more,
Concentrated to the people that applied,
Yeah.
not that many applications, so it's not overqualified, but over capacity.
right, and there are always remaining funds that are able to go moving into the next year, so, it's not like there isn't any remaining funds to be able to go over, and you get that information lined out in detail in in the CAPER every year, being able to see exactly, where we're at and where we're trending well with expending funds. It's just the idea that maybe we could be spending a little bit more. Once upon a time, and here several years ago, I see where my predecessor, there were some years, there was one year where there was 24 homes that utilized the home repair program. And so now it's just less and less are applying for it. It's certainly very active and definitely is a need. It's definitely not a program I would suggest go away. But I do think that would be very fruitful to maybe perhaps lessen the goal for the number and then be able to spend more on them.
Make it more effective.
Yeah, that way we're not limiting. For somebody who comes in and says, my furnace may possibly be broken, are we limiting it by only looking at their furnace? A lot of times those connections are all together. The ventilation system with the hot water tank with it and all of that. So, I've been trying to have the city inspectors, when they go out with me for an initial inspection, look at all of that. What all can we do? And there has been many of times where I wish I could have said, oh man, I wish I could bring this up, and maybe we could do, half of the roof too, what have you. So just food for thought. I would just like you to think about it. And if there's any information that you want further, please let me know at our next meeting and I will gather that for you in April. I will have the annual action plan done and posted up, I believe, by March 10th. You won't have to look at that yet until in April. Yeah, don't worry, it's just an annual action plan. So I can always update that according to whatever you vote on as well. If it's okay, can we move on to the next one, other matters and correspondence here?
Well, before you do that,
Yeah.
again, I think I speak for everybody, just hearing you talk about going out with the inspectors and the passion you have to assist those folks, not just looking at it through with tunnel vision, furnace, don't worry about the dilapidated, wind shutters or, roof or whatever. On behalf of everybody, we appreciate the passion you put into the position.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
I don't think we need to take a vote on that, do we? I think it's great.
I can second that.
I'd like to third.
Thank you, thank you.
My apologies, go ahead.
No, all is good. March 13th will be our next meeting. Like I said, I think I'd already reviewed over what the expectation is. All the agencies should be able to be here. So, like I said, please jot down your questions if you have them as you're going through those applications. They are in competition with each other for the funds. And we also have 4 seats that are going to expire. And I am really, really hoping that you all want to be reappointed again. And this is nothing that you have to answer to right now, but just so you know, Mike is still on this board. He was just unable to be here today, by the way. But Mike, Charles, Sister Paula Rose, and Brian, all of your seats do expire this year in August. And so probably in our April meeting, I'll be asking you if it's okay that we have you reappointed. And so just wanted to make sure that you were aware of that. That I'll be saying, please stay on the board.
Well, I speak for all of them, we already reappointed them.
Sure. I'm not gonna sit by you. You're right.
Sitting in close proximity to Ralph, he's gonna probably volunteer you for anything.
I do think Ralph is the one that motioned for you to be
I know, I
chair.
remember that. Absolutely.
If you read the minutes, you
I wasn't here.
Yes. Yes, all is good. That is everything that I have right now at the moment, unless anybody else has any information or any questions.
March 1st, do you want the applications back by that date? And then March 13th is the question and answer. And then April 10th I saw, is that correct, is the following one?
I believe, yeah, our April meeting is going to be, in March. You will hear the public service agencies, you'll be able to vote on them, and what will happen next is the April meeting will be, you'll have the annual action plan in front of you for you to approve or disapprove in order to move on to city commission to be able to be approved for submission to HUD. So it'll be our second year of our current 5-year consolidated plan. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, just mentally making notes of the,
Yeah,
yep,
of what's going on.
yep.
The annual action plan will be posted up on the city's website. It will be available at the Leavenworth Public Library and in the Community Development Office as of March 10th, because it does have to be posted for 30 days in order for, to give the public an opportunity to have any public comment to approve or disapprove.
Is that the only place it's posted?
Yeah, on the city's website, at the public library, and also will be in print in the Community Development
And those
Office.
are by regulation, those are the areas where they have to be.
That's what our Citizens Participation Plan advises. I'm gonna be afraid to quote HUD. HUD, I do believe their verbiage is that it has to be rational and available to the public. Those are the 3 most available ways that I know how to make it
No,
available to the public. And it is what our Citizen Participation Plan advises. Do you have somewhere else you wanna put it?
Absolutely not, I don't have any suggestions, I just didn't, I was sure that there was a requirement by HUD to have it at least one place,
Yep,
maybe 2, but.
yeah, and I'm probably doing a little bit more than what we need to, but that's okay, cause the whole idea is that it should be available to the public.
And transparent, absolutely.
Yeah,
So you want us to have all these scored and everything by the 1st of March?
Yeah, the first.
Okay.
and they agreed upon that when you were not here, but if you need more
It was
time,
Ralph.
you can let me
It
know.
was Ralph.
Yeah, Ralph did it. Yeah,
We call him
yeah.
Wreck-It Ralph, I don't know.
It's good to be loved.
Other than that, I don't have anything unless anybody else does.
Make a motion to adjourn, is that correct?
Yeah, I need a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor to adjourn, say aye or nay by name.
Brian Keely, aye.
Sister Paula Rose, aye.
Ralph Taylor, aye.
Charles Davis, aye.
Mary Mack, aye.
Tony Majors, aye.
Motion carries, we are adjourned.
Thank you.
I'm so